it also sets an example for these other three guys we're showing right now, the other Boris clients. You can do this. Like, how does Texas not go to Montgomery and say, hey, guess what? We'll give you the same deal Bellinger just got.
Cody Bellinger is back with the Chicago Cubs. 3 years, $80 million. Our Chicago Cubs expert, AJ Pierzynski, on the case. How did he do? How did the Cubs do?
Listen, I love this. We've been talking about this since the beginning. There was no other place that fit him as well as the Chicago Cubs. He knows it. He played there last year. He's comfortable. They know him. They know what they're going to get. And I love this contract, not only for Bellinger, but for the Cubs. If he has a great year, he's like, yep, see ya, boys. I'm out again. I'll play it again. And then if he doesn't have a great year, he doesn't opt out, he stays in the Cubs. Hopefully you get another year. But I thought this was a great, pillow contract, whatever you want to call it.
Bridge, they call it.
Bridge contract, whatever the heck you want to call it, right? But 3 years, $80 million if he stays. I love, you know what else it does? And I think Ken Rosenthal talked about this on Fair Territory. It also sets an example for these other three guys we're showing right now, the other Boris clients. You can do this. Like, how does Texas not go to Montgomery and say, hey, guess what? We'll give you the same deal Bellinger just got. Like, if I'm Jordan Montgomery, I'm like, that's not a bad idea. I mean,
but it's still less than what many people thought it was going to turn out to be.
True.
Did you see some of the projections? Tim Britton from the Athletic, 6'162", Bowden, 7'181", MLB Trade Rumors, 12'264", Fangraphs, 6'150". Now, this was 4 months ago. But the total money wasn't there.
The market's not there, though. So for what the market is, I feel like this is a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, we've talked about this a million times. The market is what the market dictates your worth. So you can, MLB Trade Rumors could say Cody Bellinger's getting 12 years, but if someone's only offering him 380, you better jump on that shit. And he did. And then the opt-outs are great. So, 30, 30, and 20, I guarantee you, if he has a good year, he'll stay. If he has a second good year, he ain't staying for the 20. So it's basically 2 years, 60.
Yep.
Unless he has 2 bad years. So I love this contract for the Cubs and get out of it too.
And I think, honestly, if this is the way it's going and these other guys that haven't signed, this puts a whole different group of teams back involved. If this is the way it's going, because it's not just Montgomery, go to Texas for this amount of money. Now it's like, all right, if this is the case, Yankees might be back involved. Orioles, just to name a few teams. Like, the money's a lot less than what everybody's thinking now, which is a shame because these guys are worth a lot more, don't get me wrong. But if that's the case now, talking about that bridge, that a whole heap load of teams are going to jump on board if that's the case, and then you'll have a bidding war a little bit.
The problem is, as we talked about, Todd, though, the Yankees, because of the collective bargaining tax, the CTB, or CBT, sorry.
CBT?
Yeah, I always want to call it the CBD.
CBD, yeah.
But the problem is that if they sign a Snell, they're over it. Like, say they sign him to a 1 year 40. It's really, 80 would we come up with? It's $80 million contract because they're over at 100% or 110%.
Which is why some people have been getting on the Mets, and I haven't looked deep into their finances, but I think they have the same situation. Some people are like, what are the Mets? I'm like...
But, if I'm the Giants, if Blake Snell's willing to take this kind of a deal, why is he not signed yet? If you're the Giants, heck, if the Dodgers don't care, why would they not sign him? Oh, yeah. Blake Snell, you're willing to take a 3-year deal with opt-outs? We'll give you that. Here you go, buddy. Opt your ass out after the first year. We'll go find someone else next year. I don't know. I think this is, like Todd said, this opens up a lot more. Like the Tampa Bay Rays could even go in. Blake Snell's probably not going back there. But go, hey, we'll give you this contract.
30-something a year.
They tried it with Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
They'd do 30. They would definitely do 30. I think the Yanks will give him 35.
Which is, again, that's 70 though. That's a $70 million contract for 1 year.
And that's why I say all of a sudden the Yankees make the call like, hey, Blake, to his agent and say, listen, where are we at? Oh man, this team just gave me 3 years, 90. All right, let's make it 3 years, 95. Like that's what teams will do. And then all of a sudden the numbers will go up. Will they go up significantly? Probably not, but there'll be an opportunity to get somebody for cheap right now, which is, I just find it ridiculous. It stinks for the player, at the end of the day. And people be like, yo, dude, they're making millions and millions. But this changes everything for the next guy coming up and the next guy after that. So that's why it's a tough part of baseball right now.
It's late in spring training. You got to get deals done sooner. Let's go to Yanks camp, see if we got Mr. Jones. Adam?
How we doing? I am live.
Hey,
I'm
what's
good.
good?
It's good. It was
How
a
you
little technical
doing?
difficulties, but great.
You sound great. All right, so before we get to all the Yank stuff and hopefully get some friends next to you so that chair is nice and full of Yankee love, your thoughts on the Cody Bellinger deal with the Chicago Cubs? Because the one thing I haven't brought up yet specifically is online everyone wants to say like who wins and who loses. They're like, oh, they got you, Boris. Like, you lost this one because he didn't sign a long-term deal, but obviously the dude's making 30 a year for 1 or 2 years, and if he crushes it, he can go back to the market. So what did you think?
I think that by this short deal, everyone was in on it. A lot of teams could have been in on this if it's a 1 or 2 year deal. It's opt out every year, so I think a lot of teams had the money to do it. And so the next thing is I think that now is with Snell, Montgomery, and Chapman, it's going to bring everything down. And these short deals, that a lot of AAV, is going to be the next thing.
So higher average annual value for these guys to potentially go back to the market. My thing, Kratz, is have you seen the free agent list for next year? It's a pretty strong list at the moment. I know there could be some extensions, but some people are like, oh, well, the market will be better next year. How do we know that the market's going to be better? I think there are some bigger market teams that are deciding that they're not going to ball out anymore. And I don't know if that's going to change in the near future.
I think this would be an opportunity for the maybe middle tier markets to start coming up to where the higher market teams are. Look at the Phillies. The Phillies have they haven't maxed out, but they've paid what they've wanted to pay. But they still had Yamamoto. They gave him an offer that was higher than what the Dodgers even offered him. That what he got from the Dodgers. So teams are still going to pay, and the whole like, oh well, if they sign Blake Snell for $40 million for 1 year, it's actually $80 million. Okay, well, I mean that you're putting that directly on Blake Snell. You could say, well, now Judge's contract is 36 a year. Well, he's 72 a million, and Snell's only 40 million. Like, I think you're sitting there going, do they want to pay this tax that's going to end up going to the lower market teams who aren't paying anything? I don't think so. And I think it's I think the whole idea of waiting for Burns and Fried next year, as far as starting pitching, to me is a greater upside than what's left on the starting market right now.
By the way, I think this is going to be the new trend. I think we're going to see this more in some of these free agents that are, especially the younger ones. I think because this allows more teams to get in. Like Fraze said, this allows some of the medium market, smaller market teams to jump in on some of these dudes.
This is what they want, but this is not what the players want.
I understand, but if this is the way you can get 30 or 40 million a year for 2 years, Cody Bellinger ain't getting 10 for 300, right? Yeah, but Cody Bellinger can't get 10 for 300. He got 3 for 80, 30, 30, 20. Shit, that's still pretty good. Yeah, you can opt out.
I know, but these guys want deals like last year. Bogarts, Trey Turner, double-digit years. You're getting a $300 million. I mean, this is a huge difference in terms of what you're committing long-term. It takes a lot of the risk out for teams. What's up, Todd?
Scott, let me make this point too as well. I'm just drawing a blank. The guy from the Brewers that just signed and he didn't even play any major league time yet.
Oh, Churio, right? The prospect.
Now think about this: when these opportunities come, these young guys coming up, and they see how these markets are going. Like, shoot, in 6 years, it's tough. Let me sign this deal right now. I mean, you could see that happening more often. I mean, is that a stretch? Not really. Because how these markets are going. I mean, call me crazy, but if I'm a young guy and I see like, oh man, if I do take off, there's still an opportunity not to make as much as I'm supposed to. Let me sign this deal for 10 years, $100 million or whatever it is. You've seen it before. I mean, Ronald Acuna did the same thing kind of. So it's like, well, do you take this or do you wait it out and take a chance? I don't know.
Look at Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, he just got almost $300 million guaranteed. He's been in the league for 5 minutes. I mean, he's a superstar. He's the face of the Royals already. But Jonesy, I mean, this is a guy who I think was concerned about the long-term status of the Royals and if they're going to be competitive. But at the same time, I mean, how do you turn that down, right?
Almost $300 million. We'll figure out the long-term plan. But he's going to go to a new ballpark also. He's going to be the face of that franchise for a very, very long time. So I think it was a good deal. And you've seen what the Royals did this whole entire offseason by signing 5 or 6 guys to really solid contracts, honestly. So I think they're going to be competitive this year. Again, they're in the Central, so the Central is not the East or the West. So I think they can be very competitive in that division.
I know it's totally different situations, but I just looked up Bellinger and Wade had the same exact Baseball Reference WAR this year. Bellinger had him a little bit on the bat, and I'm sure Witt has him a little bit on the defense and the base running. But Cody Bellinger, if you believe what you saw this past season,
Witt also got opt-outs in his deal.
He did later.
So he also, but he also
backloaded.
But he got a bunch of money early. He's only in his, he's still not even ARB eligible.
Right.
So he got opt-outs. Where I think is when he hits free agency, he can opt out. So I mean, it's great. But he jumped the money early. Like I'm all for Jonesy and Kratz and Todd. Like, get your first one, especially like if you're Jackson Churro, you're Bobby Witt, you're 22 years old. I think he is 23. Bobby Witt is 22, however old he is.
Yeah, he's 22. I think.
Right,
I'll
dude. And they're offering you 12 years, 270.
Yep.
And you get friggin' 7 years until you get your opt out, and in that time you get $100 million. Like, take it. And then, dude, if you don't want to stay, you opt out and you go somewhere else. But I mean, even Jackson Churro with what he signed, like, listen, cool. Like, he got $100 million in the bank. No one ever take that away from you. Jump on it. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're a little bit older, hell, even more of a reason to take that, because when you hit free agency, teams are gonna be like, you're too old, because now 29 is like
the drop that. Mm-hmm. When I was going through my long-term deal with the Baltimore, I was talking to Mark McLemore, and he said, "Hey, you can't turn down your first fortune, no matter how you do it. You can't turn down your first fortune." And that's what these guys are doing now. They're cashing in. They're able to play more relaxed. Also, like once I signed that contract, I don't think I ever was stressed about an 0 for 3 ever again. But it just a comfort for your family, for everybody around you. And again, sometimes people say you're leaving money on the table. What if you don't never make that money on the back end if you get hurt or anything like that? We all know how these careers handle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next burning question, because we covered the team side and the contract side with the Cubs. What inning are they in with their current offseason? Kratz, you want to start? Because I bring this up since Jed Hoyer, a month or so ago, said that they were only about halfway through the game, right? It was like the 5th inning in their offseason. Did they just close out their offseason, or are we like in the 8th and they might be able to sneak a pitcher in there too? Because the Cubs didn't really go crazy this offseason. I mean, they brought back the dude that was their best player. Okay, they would have been worse if they didn't have him. I know they're super excited about some of their prospects that are coming up, but we don't know what Imanaga is going to look like. They got Bush to help the infield, and Michael Bush and Hector Neris. But are the Cubs like a heavy front runner in the NL Central? I don't think so yet. Stroman was dominant for them in the first half of last year. He's gone.
Stroman carried them. Tyone carried them in the first half. And I think Tyone's going to be
okay. Tyone's second half.
Tyone's second half carried them, picked up for Stroman. And Steele, can he duplicate what he did? He's going to have to. And in my opinion, you asked what inning they're in. They were just in the 8th inning. They were losing 5-1, and they hit a solo homer. So now it's 5-2. They have a little bit of time left. I don't see it happening.
Agreed. I would agree with them. You can never count any team out. You can't say their innings are over with, because there's still plenty of people to get on the free agent market. So I would say it's bottom of the 8th here. So time to get going.
Bottom of the 8th. What inning you got?
It's getting late now. Yeah, I'm thinking it's around where Todd said. It's getting late. As Wayne Hadaway, the old Twins clubhouse guy, say, it's getting late, big fella.
Can they get Montgomery?
They can get whoever the fuck they want. They got enough money.
Will they?
That's the question. Will they? I don't know.
Where's he going?
Boston. I did see Evan Grant, our friend Evan Grant, tweeted out that this now opens it up for Montgomery to come back to the Rangers.
Which is where he wants.
Which is kind of where I feel like everybody feels like he wants to be. But I don't know. Why can't the Red Sox do this? Why can't Tampa Bay do this? Opt out. You don't like it here?
They're not doing it, though. I'm sorry.
But I'm saying, why can't they? They can.
Of course they can.
This opens it up for the Royals. This opens it up for every team. Why can't the Cardinals go to Montgomery and say, we'll give you this? He liked it there.
Dude, most of the teams you're bringing up are not dropping $30-something million on February 26th. They're just not. I'm sorry. That's not how this game works.
I don't know.
Dude, that's not what's happening. I'm telling you.
I know. I'm just saying
The
it
Cubs
opens it
can,
up
the
for where.
Giants can, the Yankees can. The Royals are done
Okay.
for the
The
offseason.
Mariners
The
could.
Rays are done. The Mariners are broke. I've said that all offseason.
Braves
long.
could do it.
Braves could, but they're done.
Marlins could do it. They got money.
Oakland,
Marlins are a joke.
Make a splash.
There's no chance.
Oakland's not doing it. We know that.
Everybody.
Oakland just made a ton of money
Phillies
at their
could do
Fans
it.
Fest. Oh, wait, that wasn't them.
Phillies could do it.
Phillies are a sneaky option. That's a team
Mets
that makes
could possibly
sense.
do it, but all the Mets are building towards next year, they said, right?
And I think they have the double tax action, too, which is tough.
Blue Jays? Why can't the Blue Jays do this?
That's a great call. What's up in
Blue Jays
Philly?
are going to get Chapman.
that's a good one. If the Blue Jays were supposedly in on Shohei and Yamamoto, they got the money. You got a whole country. So I think they can do it.
They had the money
Angels-
for Ohtani, but
Angels also, too, they always spend money.
it just depends.
But they said they're cutting their payroll because they did so well the last couple of
You
years.
just got to catch Artie on a good day when he wakes up. the
Toronto
owner of
just has
the
to
Angels.
ask their teachers union first if they can spend some money.
What's up with Philly, Crash? Is Philly going to sneak in?
I don't think so. I don't
No.
think so. Not unless one of these guys goes 1 year. And I think if they were going to sneak in with a 1 year, it would be a Snell. But again, this is the time that I said if the Wheeler deal doesn't get done, they know where those talks are. If that doesn't get done and they're far apart in talks, I could see like a little 3-year bridge contract with a 1 year out for $35 million with Blake Snell. Golly, that rotation would be obnoxious.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.